Hey everybody! So yesterday I posted a video from Tony Robbins, his six emotional needs that drive our behavior. And I thought that video was really important because the six needs really resonated with me as an individual and as a clinician. And I know that Tony has been, doing clinical work for way longer than I have. He's like 156. But I thought that just in this short time of my work, that I've seen these emotional needs driving behavior over and over again. And I asked you guys to identify some of the behaviors that you see that you're meeting these needs with in your own life. I did that exercise myself and was able to identify a few things that I've been doing to meet some of those needs, especially when it comes to significance and certainty. In order to that would maybe be a little negative, not a little negative, a lot negative, but that gives me something to work on for the next several months or until I can reduce those behaviors. So today is our last day of looking at the brain and its correlation to, or how we use it in order to better ourselves or produce the best version of ourselves. And I asked you guys yesterday to pay attention or remember that that emotions happen in the brain. And so today we're going to talk about that place. We haven't really discussed it yet. And so I thought it'd be a good thing to end with this week. So the part of our brains where emotions live is called the limbic system. This is also known as the emotional brain or our fight or flight center. And I'm sure most of you know that fight or flight is that emotion when we have a negative or what we label as negative experience that might feel dangerous to us, even if there is no true physical threat. Our brains tell us to either fight or run, and it releases chemicals so that we can do that effectively. All kinds of things, adrenaline and certain endorphins to beef up our muscles. But we also know that too much of that produces a prolonged stressed state for no reason. And so we want to be educated on the limbic system as well as understand how it works and how we can gain some control over it. So there's a few other things that happen here in this emotional center of the brain that are really important. One of them is that experiences are automatically labeled, depending upon past experiences, as positive or negative. So when we have an experience, it kind of filters through this system and we say, okay, I like that experience or I didn't. And immediately, the way that we feel that in our bodies physically, the way that we feel it consciously, is that there are some chemicals released. Either that chemical is going to be one that causes tension in your body. You may see that as heavy breathing, sweaty palms, some of that adrenaline that doesn't feel good. Or we see it as a calming chemical, something that makes us feel settled and secure and wonderful. These things are then brought into another part of the limbic system where it's made in a memory. And based on that memory is how we're going to label things in the future. So it's kind of like this cycle that starts when we're very, very young, of having experiences, labeling them as positive or negative, releasing chemicals to reinforce that label of positive or negative, and storing it in our memories so that if it ever happens again, we can relive those emotions. We can tell our bodies, our conscious mind, that this is not something that we want to do. This can be a positive interaction with our brains, or a positive process that we're going through. But it can also be a negative one if we have, depending upon our experiences in childhood and adolescence, and sometimes early adulthood as well, as we start to experience romantic relationships, we can end up labeling things, attaching meaning and labeling things based on our past experiences, and one may have nothing to do with the other, but it stimulates certain parts of our brain or certain parts of our limbic system that make it relevant to that past experience, and it gets labeled as negative when it shouldn't be. So we want to kind of just pay attention to the labels that we're giving our experiences. And y'all know what I always say: challenge, challenge, challenge. These things are physical processes that are happening in our brains. And so when we have the thoughts, the conscious thoughts that come into our mind because of the process, that automatic process that's happening, we can challenge it and we can change it and we can redefine things. And our brain is going to do what we tell it to do. Okay. So let's see. So that. So I talked about how our limbic system, as it experiences positive and negative things, will give us physical reactions. So this is a question for the ladies. Have you ever wondered why you attach to people, especially men? Ever wonder why you attach to men so quickly, or that you have in the past and now you have this wall up where it's almost impenetrable, where you don't let anybody get close enough to hurt you? Well, that's because our limbic systems are larger than the male limbic system. So our emotional center of the brain, which is a powerful place, is bigger. So biologically, our brains are different and interpret emotions more intensely than men. And a lot of men will define this as, women just being really emotional. We're too emotional. And there's a reason for that. And there's beauty in that. But we have to be careful. One thing that we could do, that we do, is to try and move through the world with this rebellion against our nature. We say things like, well, men get to do X, Y, Z. I like to do those things too, so I should be able to do them. And really, if I'm keeping it real, I'm talking about sex. But the limbic system, because ours is bigger, because our emotional centers are larger, we become tightly bonded very quickly with people that we engage sexually with. And this can be very, very dangerous for us, because our sexual attraction is not really for 2016, is not a logical process whatsoever. Back in the day, we wanted the biggest, the strongest, the alpha in order to survive. But now, the biggest, strongest alpha type might not be best for our emotional, physical survival. And honestly, there's a lot that we can do on our own, that our survival is not dependent on being attached to the biggest, strongest male. But today our survival is based on creating positive attachments and meaningful relationships and strong partnerships with the men that are compatible with us. And so sexual attraction is something that is kind of dated. So if we make our choices in that way, that dated, that kind of outdated way, then we are subjecting ourselves to sexual relationships with people that we may not need to truly be tightly bonded with. And this is not something that happens consciously. This is something that's going to happen automatically in your brain. That's why, like, you see over and over and over again, when sex is very pleasurable, women go crazy. We do all kinds of crazy stuff for that guy. Y'all know that guy. That guy. So, I'm going to talk about that more in detail, like very much in depth, closer to the beginning of next year, when I'm speaking more to the ladies. But just know that our brains are different, and it's for a good reason, y'all. Like, we are such powerful beings. Our limbic system, this part of our brain that is larger than the men, it gives us like superpowers. That's why there's something called female intuition. That's why we can have these beautiful bonds with human beings, especially our children. Why are we the nurturers? Why are we the ones who create positive emotional attachments in our children? Why are we responsible for that? Why are we the controllers, creators, and implementers of culture? Why do we control culture? It's because of this area in our brain that gives us superpowers. That's for y'all. That's for us. So, anyways, another downside to this is that well, not just for ladies, but when the limbic system is overactive, it can cause all kinds of nonsense and wreak all kinds of havoc and really cause us to lose control over our emotions. You see this in males and females. Men, it's more of anger and aggression and control, violence. That's because they have more testosterone. It comes out that way. Women, it's more of a like depressed state. We kind of get down and lower in our emotions. And so and I want to talk a little bit about how we can reduce activity in the limbic system and take control over our emotions. So I have just a few ways for us to do that. One is surprisingly an emotion called awe, like awe as in awesome. This is an experience that you have when you connect with something greater than yourself. Like, have you ever seen like a really beautiful sunset over the ocean, and you just have this feeling wash over you, and you say to yourself, just wow, like that is so amazing, that's awe-inspiring, that's awesome. Or if you've ever gone somewhere and seen something so much bigger than you, something like the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon is awe-inspiring because no picture can show you how vast these canyons are, how deep and wide they are. Even sometimes being in the presence of a very, very large tree can make you feel awe or awe-inspired, and just looking up at something that's so old and so great and just been here just so much longer and larger than yourself. But that feeling is something that calms your limbic system. And in those moments, you're able to connect with reason and challenge some of the thoughts that come out of the limbic system and do some like calibrating. Make sure that, and we do this through meditation as well, but do some calibrating and make sure that your emotional experiences are aligning with the things that you want to see happen in your life. Another way to calm the limbic system is to take supplements. DHA with an additive called SAMe, is capital S, capital A, capital M, lowercase e. This is something that Dr. Amen, Change Your Brain, Change Your Life guy, suggests in the book, that it is a supplement that will help to, you know, reduce the activity in the limbic system and help you to kind of regain control over your thoughts and your emotions. The last thing is for, you know, everyone, which is an orgasm. Orgasms are beneficial in so many ways, physically but also mentally. Dr. Amen describes it as a small seizure in the limbic system that reduces the activity and makes us feel euphoric. It releases those calming chemicals because it's a positive experience in our physical world. But we have to be very, very careful, ladies. We have to be very careful who we allow to provide us with the experience of an orgasm, because along with those calming feelings come the strongest bonding agents that our brain can muster up. And so every time you experience an orgasm with a man, you become more bonded to him. So that's, you know, one of those things that we just have to be aware of. I pass no judgment on women when it comes to sexuality. I am for people doing what they want, but I want you to be informed about what you're doing, because a lot of us just don't know. We think that we're just having fun and that we're experiencing something pleasurable, but you are actually bonding with someone very, very strongly. And we just want to be careful. We want to protect ourselves, our minds and our bodies, from those types of experiences that can really cause some damage to us. So the more that we understand about the brain and emotions, the better we're able to control them. And our goal is the ability to have a wide, wonderful range of emotions without losing control. Because when we lose control, we end up either causing harm to ourselves and the ones that we love around us. And we really need to be in a place, or growing to a place, where we can have positive experiences with one another, and also lift each other up. So that's all for today. I know that was a little scattered. I'm so sleepy today. But you guys can always reach me at the Facebook page, The Village Life, and hit me up in the inbox or the DMs. It goes down in the DMs, but in a good, positive, therapeutic kind of way. We also have an Instagram. Our Instagram handle is @Revolution4Home. I actually posted a picture of it on the page, so if you go check that out, follow it. I put up some fun stuff on there, little videos and pictures and things of that nature. I'm not a huge IG user, so I'm still kind of learning how to use it for business. So it might be a couple of pictures of me, a few selfies, because I'm still learning, guys. But I hope that this was useful and valuable to you. And like I said, if you have any questions, you guys know how to reach me. Have a wonderful and glorious day. I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to do any videos this weekend. I kind of need time to rest in the mornings. It's becoming a struggle as the pregnancy moves on to wake up this early, but you know, the grind is here regardless of throwing people in the belly. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Love you.